G'day, cunts! Welcome to another fisted-full, fun-packed episode of Awkward Silence. And apparently I am not good with the fucking entrance videos today, but anyway, we are back for episode 10. 10 episodes not including the specials, and I somehow have not gotten canceled yet. But, we got a great show for you guys today. But first, let me introduce the people on Awkward Silence, the people entertaining you fine listeners. I am the tribal chief of Awkward Silence, the Go to Jags YouTube, shagging off. We have Master Nicky the Draft Sensei, CP motherfucking G, and Chicago Sports Talk Michaels. Gentlemen, welcome to episode 10 of Awkward Silence. How are we doing tonight?
My tribal chief!
Yes, I am.
Hot
but
and
anyway,
horny.
how are we doing tonight? What? See, why every time I ask how are you guys doing, can I never just get a normal fucking answer? It's
I'm
always
doing grand. I'm doing grand. How about you, sir?
I'm doing great, thank you. Maybe back with you. Being that this is sort of a milestone for the show, if you want to call it that, and just we got a very special show for you today. Master Nicky the Draft Sensei here has prepared draft grades. So it's coming straight from his mind how every NFL team did on the NFL draft. And unlike those 94 and counting unsuspecting patients of Dr. Klein in some town in Indiana, you'll know exactly where these came from. Damn it, I was gonna get to the fucking statement without laughing. Anyway, see Our Father on Netflix to figure out that joke. But speaking of people who want to build a football team like Dr. Klein and Master Nicky's ex-girlfriend, who thank God he did not contribute his seed to that harlot sadistic plot, he is now going to present his slideshow for us, so I'm going to add it to the stream. Master Nicky, if you please show us how all these fuckers did in the draft.
Alright, now, I just want to give a full disclaimer. I know that I could be wrong about some of these picks, which is why, maybe in a couple of years, we could revisit these draft grades and see how right or wrong I was.
I think that's a great idea.
What happened in Buffalo?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, there was that mass shooting that happened.
Oh, that's what you were talking about before we started.
Yeah.
Whoops. Prayers out to everybody in Buffalo for that. That's terrible. I hope prayers to all the victims of the families of that while we're thinking about it here.
That is not hot and horny at all. Not at all. Not at all. What? I mean, that's what we want, right? That's the right thing, right?
No, it's not.
It's not hot and horny. That's what I said. It said it's not, right? That's a good thing.
Jesus fucking Christ. Nicky, the draft grades, please.
All right. So we're going to start with the NFC North here.
Oh, you got them marked by divisions.
Yep.
Well, what did the Packers get?
All right. So the Packers opened up by grabbing Quay Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. And I'm not the biggest fan of taking linebackers in the first round unless you're like Micah Parsons or something like that.
Devin Lloyd.
True. We'll see with Devin Lloyd. Like, he's got to prove it on the NFL field first.
No, he does. I get it.
Then we got Devontae Wyatt, which was strange to me because usually the Packers, they like young prospects, and Devontae Wyatt is going to be 24. That being said, though, he did dominate in the Senior Bowl, and he was awesome on that Georgia defense. Then they did get the receiver that they were targeting all along, Christian Watson, by being patient and trading up in the second round. And then they got a couple of offensive linemen and Sean Ryan and Zach Tom. They also got other wide receivers like Romeo Dobbs and Samori Toure, all along with an edge rusher to add to depth with Kingsley Enagbare. Now, they were outside of the range to land one of the top wide receivers in this draft, but to me, it was good to see them stay patient and still land Watson while also adding two pieces to the front seven as well.
And can I just say, like, I know everybody's shitting on Green Bay. Oh, they didn't take a receiver in the first round. It's like, bro, you got a first round level talent in the second round. So what are you bitching about?
Exactly.
I think I think sometimes you got to say fuck the position of need and stick to your board. And in this case, it worked out well for the Packers.
And like Devontae Adams was a second round pick. Everyone forgets that.
And there are such a thing as first round busts.
According to Packers fans, Devontae was a product of Rodgers.
I would never say that. I don't think anybody that actually knows football and sees actually how Devontae has that great release off the line of scrimmage would say that.
You can have that. You could say like this person does better because this person's his teammate, but ultimately the guy has to sort of know what the fuck he's doing for it to happen in the first place. So I don't. So will there probably be a slight drop off with going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr? I'm sure, but it's still going to be fucking Devontae Adams.
Exactly. Like, I'm not one of those salty Packer fans that's like, oh, he's going to suck because he's going to a different quarterback. No, he's not Greg Jennings. He's actually good.
As much as Derek Carr gets lent, I mean, at least wasn't he like a top 10 quarterback this season or like last year?
I think technically he was, but I don't know. Anyway,
moving on. I like the value of Enagbare in the fifth as well. I had him as a third round prospect, so I definitely like the value. And I just thought that the seventh round picks were logical as well. Rasheed Walker, before the college football season started, was even getting some first round hype. So the athletic traits are there. And Toure has the ability to really stretch the field. And also getting Tariq Carpenter, he grew up a Packers fan, and I think he's going to be a really good special teamer. So this may not be how a lot of Packer fans expected the draft to go, but they did address needs with good value. So I gave it a B+.
I'd agree with that grade.
Next, we got the Chicago Bears.
Oh, God.
Got Kyler Gordon here and Jaquan Brisker. Now, full disclosure, I think they're great. They're good players. But my thing was the process of what I thought was most important for the Bears, and that was getting as much help for Justin Fields as possible. The players that they got are fine. They're fine, but given the situation at hand, I just don't think that this would be what I would have done. Now, I get that Eberflus is a defensive-minded head coach, but I just think that this team needed offensive talent ready to contribute immediately. They really needed to find talent to help figure out whether Justin Fields is the guy. And I'm not sure that they did that in this draft. But also I do recognize that they did get good players, so I'm giving them a C+.
But what about Velas?
I knew you were going to say that, Jagganoff.
Now, Velas,
fucking Velas.
my thing with Velas is before this year, he never passed more than 300 yards receiving before this season.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
He didn't have more than 300 yards in a season before this past season.
What did he get this past season?
What do you mean?
How many yards did he get this past college football season?
Well, let me look that up, Jagganoff.
He had over 1,000. I remember reading that.
Combined,
was that in receiving yards or total from scrimmage yards? Because
just receiving yards.
Felix Jones Jr. stats. Come on, Google, load up.
Oh God, what a piece of shit Google's being.
Oh, so Nick, remember that post I sent you about the Bears secondary being one of the worst in the league?
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Also, Velas had 628 yards this past year. In 2021. I'm looking at sportsreference.com for that right now. Also, he originally played for USC before transferring to Tennessee, where he had...
So, Michael here, you made a bet with me that this guy is going to do something he never did at the collegiate level at the NFL level. Awkward silence. Next.
I forgot about that.
But
yeah,
my
thing
with Velas is he was mostly known for his special teams play, as a kick returner, more than being an actual receiver. Now, could he surprise people? Yeah, but he's also 24 and still has development to do.
He's 25, actually.
Okay, my point exactly.
He was trying to help you out, and you just kind of fucked it up.
Yeah, he's still got some development. He's still got some developing to do, and at 25 years old, he's gonna be almost 30 when his next contract comes up. And that's not ideal. So, I think they could have just done more to help Justin Fields.
Yeah, but I'd say C+ is about a fair grade. And let's go to the team with the GM that had ADD on draft day.
And they had a much worse draft, in my opinion. They started off by trading down from 12.
Should have given them an F.
Nah, I'm not going to be that harsh. There's only one team that got a D, and that'll come later. It's not the Jags, Jagganoff, so calm down.
Yeah, because we really was about to fight when you were about to give them an F.
All right.
It's like I wasn't that happy with the draft, but a fucking F.
All right. No spoilers.
Anyway, conversation for another time. Go ahead and explain Team ADD here.
All right. So the Vikings, for some inexplicable reason, traded with the division rival Lions. They traded from 12 to 32, where they, Adam Thielen isn't getting any younger. They could have drafted a receiver to go with Justin Jefferson. That would have been a good move. Instead, they go with a developing safety, in my opinion, in Lewis Seen. Now, don't get me wrong.
I'm starting to notice a theme with the NFC North teams.
Oh, Georgia?
No, they just think they can groom everybody who needs developing. Anyway, continue.
Lewis Seen, he performed well for Georgia, but I feel like the main reason Georgia was so successful on defense was because of their front seven. Quay Walker.
Yeah, both of the Walkers.
Devontae Wyatt.
Yeah, the Wyatt family. And then there was another one, too. But anyway. Oh, yeah, Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis.
But anyway, go ahead.
Lewis Seen, in my opinion, he's got really good potential, but, I just don't like this process from them. But I do think that they got a really good player in Andrew Booth Jr. here in the second round. If he's healthy. There were some medical concerns going into this weekend. They then drafted Ed Ingram and Brian Asamoah, two players that I'm not a huge fan of, and I thought that they were drafted way too early. Caleb Evans is fine, I guess, for where he was taken. Otamiwo, I guess.
Some of these
All in all,
names.
like I just really didn't understand trading down from 12 to 32, especially with a divisional rival. Again, Booth has medical red flags, much like a lot of the corners that this franchise has drafted recently. Seems to be a theme with Minnesota. But they need to hope he can get on the field. Again, I thought Ingram and Asamoah were huge reaches, and I'd be shocked if they turned into real contributors. I get this was Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's first draft, but his process in this draft looks questionable, to say the least.
Glad we didn't get
agree.
him. I'm glad we didn't get that GM.
I feel bad for this guy because, like, everybody seemed like, because, you know, he's the young black guy that everybody seemed to like at first.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, yes, next.
All right,
That's
next
right.
we got the Detroit Lions, who I will say I think had the best draft out of the NFC North.
I'd agree with that.
They drafted Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams, thanks to the Vikings that we just mentioned.
Good
Josh
job,
Paschal,
assholes.
Kirby Joseph from Illinois, James Mitchell, tight end out of Virginia Tech, Malcolm Rodriguez, a linebacker out of Oklahoma State, and they took some flyers on guys like James Houston and Chase Lucas. Now, Brad Holmes has really knocked it out of the park in his first two drafts as general manager, and there seems to be for the first time in a really long time a clear vision of what Detroit wants to do. And I think that they're only a quarterback away from really competing in the NFC North. And that's just me being real, even as a Packers fan. They received ideal value for each selection. And again, I think that there is a reality where every single pick here has a meaningful role to this team. Thoughts on that?
I would definitely agree. But Detroit had an outstanding draft.
Yeah, they've had an outstanding last couple of drafts for sure.
I would want to say a prayer to those who got drafted by Detroit. Say a prayer for them.
Say a prayer for them because we know their history with drafting good players. But hey, it's a new regime here. We'll see.
Man, fuck Detroit has no.
He said, "Man, fuck that."
Here I am trying to be the fair one of the NFC North.
Oh, Michael don't give a fuck. He just wants to say shit to troll because that's what he does.
All right.
No, I don't hate Detroit. I just feel bad for them, but one of their fans just gets on my nerves.
All right. Next, we're going to the AFC North.
Ooh, here we go.
And we're going to start off with this team that obnoxiously has a great draft every single freaking year. The Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, these. I tell you what, with the value they got, they were slicker than cum on a gold tooth with these draft picks.
Like, oh my God, Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum in the first round is awesome. And then David Ojabo reuniting with his old defensive coordinator at Michigan while also reuniting with his best friend in high school, Odafe Owe. Like, that's a dream scenario in the first two rounds. And Travis Jones slipping to the third round. What is the NFL doing letting this happen? He's going to be so good for Baltimore, I feel Travis Jones will be. Then they got Daniel Falele, who is this massive 380-pound right tackle for them. And then Charlie Kolar, who I view as like Travis Kelce light, like diet Travis Kelce in the way that he can receive. To me, this looks like, but based on how they drafted, it looks like they're trying to return to that 2019 form when Lamar won MVP. I noticed back in 2020 and 2021, they tried to predicate more on the passing game, which, let's face it, Lamar's not, like, passing's not exactly his strong suit. He can throw, But, like, that's not the main thing you're worried about with Lamar. It's his athleticism
He's a
and
running
his
back.
ability to scramble. I'm not going to say that. He is a quarterback. Like, if you're going to say that, then you're going to say Michael Vick is a running back.
Oh, my God.
Anyways.
Or Cam Newton.
Right.
Or Justin Fields.
Now,
I know, I just wanted to say that.
I'm just saying, upon first look, this draft is just, it's amazing to me, and I'm not sure how the Ravens...
Never mind amazing, it's disgusting how they fucking got this kind of talent and do all the time. Even all the way down to my guy Isaiah Likely, who I wanted the Jaguars to draft in the worst way.
Exactly. Like, and with a large contract for Lamar Jackson coming up, getting this kind of talent on rookie deals was a great strategy for Baltimore. DaCosta
it's a great strategy for everybody.
What?
I mean, it's a great strategy for everybody.
Yeah, but especially when you have a big contract for a quarterback coming up.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
disgusting.
Disgusting, but you can't help but fucking respect it, you know?
Oh, no. It's very respectable. I'm saying disgusting as in, like, holy shit.
Yeah. And they do this every single year. It's
insane. But
yeah.
hey, it's like it basically passed from Ozzie Newsome to the next guy.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like Ozzie Newsome injected his seed into this guy's unknowing mother, and he just came out and inherited his skills.
Wow, you're really obsessed with that Netflix show.
I'm gonna find a way to get it in this whole show. But anyway, go ahead.
All right,
get it in.
Now we're moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. They drafted Daxton Hill and Cam Taylor-Britt, Zachary Carter, Cordell Volson, their only offensive player that they drafted, Tyson Anderson, the safety out of Toledo, and Jeffrey Gunter, the edge out of Coastal Carolina. Now, I like the first two picks in this draft a whole lot. Hill was one of my favorite prospects in this whole draft due to his versatility. He can play in the slot or as a regular safety. And Taylor-Britt also has upside. But after that, it got a little confusing for me. Like, with only 6 picks in this draft, I would have liked to have seen them take more offensive line prospects, even though they did invest in it heavily in free agency. I just would have liked to see more selections and more than just one offensive player, so I gave it a B-.
Fair.
Next, we got the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland.
Now, they
kind of couldn't do much here.
Yeah, exactly. Their first pick was in the 3rd round, and given what they traded to get Deshaun Watson, they will have to do more with less in the draft for the next few years. Now, I like that they traded back to acquire more picks a lot in this draft, and that was a good move from their GM. But when it comes to the players they drafted, it's fair to be critical. I thought Emerson was a reach, and what are they doing taking a kicker so early when history shows that just hasn't worked out? Now,
oh my God.
I did like the Perrion Winfrey selection a lot, though. He was the MVP at the Senior Bowl when it came to defense, and I think he can become a really good interior pass rusher. With that being said, though, I just think this draft is only okay.
Yeah, and you can expect more drafts like this from the Cleveland Browns because of, well, you know. Come on out, you rapist!
Oh my God.
I knew that clip was coming.
It has to anytime we mention Deshaun Watson. But anyway,
Next, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They drafted
these tiny hands.
Yes, they drafted Kenny Pickett and George Pickens back to back. Well, not back to back.
A lot of guys whose last names start off with Pick.
Oh yeah, it's a tongue twister waiting to happen. Kenny Pickett to Pickens in Pittsburgh.
Pickett to Pickens.
The Pittsburgh
Roethlisberger.
We'll get to Pickens in Pittsburgh. Then they drafted DeMarvin Leal, Calvin Austin III from Memphis. They drafted Hayward's brother, Connor, from Michigan State. Seems like they have a thing for getting reuniting brothers onto the team. And then Mark Robinson, and they drafted Chris Oladokun, the quarterback out of South Dakota State. Now, I'm just gonna be real.
His name sounds very racist.
I'm gonna be real. I don't know if Pickett is going to prove to be successful. I wasn't in love with him as a prospect, but he is accurate. He can make plays on the move, and he did have a really good season in 2021. Plus, it's not like the Steelers traded up to get him. They stayed put at 20, and they took him.
Which is the best part about that.
Well, he has to keep him in check because Pickens is known for getting into fights.
Exactly. I do think that Pittsburgh was the best destination for Pickens due to them having a strong culture and good leadership. Like, let's face it, Mike Tomlin dealt with Antonio Brown for 9 years.
And Le'Veon Bell and Big Ben in the same season.
Exactly.
But of course, according to one of their piece of shit fans, they're an unstable, failing organization.
Who says that?
Who do you think? Days of Our Steelers?
Oh. Yeah, forgot about him.
He's like the only fan that ever talks shit about the Steelers.
Because he's a fucking moron.
But
like I've been saying this whole time.
Imagine.
I don't even like the Steelers, but that's asinine.
Imagine him coming in the chat right now and saying F you Jagganoff.
Yeah, I wish the fuck he would, but he's too much of a pussy to do that. But anyway, continue.
But yeah, I do think that their decision-making process in terms of what they had at their disposal was great. So I gave them a B+.
Fair enough.
Next, we got the NFC East.
Oh boy.
We're gonna start off with them boys.
Them boys.
We got the Dallas Cowboys, and
yeah, this makes sense.
We're gonna.
This feels like a boom or bust type of class for me. Now, there's no denying that Tyler Smith has upside, but to me, that was one of the bigger reaches of the first round. Sam Williams also has upside, but the off-field concerns with him are really serious.
Flew it with a fucking rocket to get him.
What?
They flew it with a fucking rocket to draft this guy. Good lord.
Oh, Tyler Smith?
Yeah, not a fan. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, Sam Williams, he also does have upside, like I said, but the off-field concerns are, well, concerning. And the idea that Jalen Tolbert is going to fill the void that Amari Cooper left is a little bit of a reach in itself. Now, after that, I do think that they took some decent swings on day 3. I like the Ferguson pick a lot. I think he could be a good replacement for Dalton Schultz next season if they decide to move on from him. This draft could end up looking like a home run later, but it's safe to say that the Cowboys took a lot of risks in this draft.
I'll say.
So I gave it a C.
See you later, them boys.
Next is the Philadelphia Eagles, and they didn't take a whole lot of...
Let's talk about the
Eagles.
They only had five... They only opened five... They only had 5 picks here. Now, this was a tough draft for me to really grade. Now, I also took the A.J. Brown trade into consideration because they're getting him in his prime.
Beautiful.
And the guaranteed money on his new contract also makes this a win for them. I mean, he's going to be making less money than Devontae Adams. He's going to be making less money than a lot of the receivers that were on the market this past year.
Christian Kirk, though.
Right. And I think that that's...
Hey, maybe in a roundabout way, we contributed to Trashville getting rid of AJ Lee, which honestly is pretty awesome. But anyway,
anyways, I do think that the rest of this draft was tricky. I do think that Jordan Davis has the potential to be an absolute game wrecker, but you look at how many snaps he took in the NFL. Well, at the college level, he hasn't taken a single snap in the NFL. Excuse me. He just never had a lot of production rushing the passer at Georgia. He only had like 2.5 sacks his whole career at Georgia, and he only played an average of 25.2 snaps per game last season. Like conditioning is an issue for me when it comes to him. Like, he's athletic as hell, but what's the stamina like? It's a fine pick, but I would have gone with a more immediate need like safety. So I would have gone with Kyle Hamilton or Daxton Hill over him. Now, the Nakobe Dean pick could be a steal, and even if he is an average starting linebacker, getting him at 83 was a good value. They just have to hope that his injury doesn't linger. And other than that, like, there wasn't a lot more to analyze. So I gave it a B+. That A.J. Brown trade really elevated it to that plus territory.
Well, yeah, it should. Well, yeah, it should have. Like, anytime you can fuck Trashville over, I mean, it's a good win in my book. Next.
All right. Next, we got the New York Giants, and I really like what they did with.
They did have a very good draft, even though it's all going to get wasted because Daniel Jones is their quarterback.
Now,
also, thank whoever is betting me $20 that the Giants are going to beat the Bears week 4. Thank you very much to that Giants fan.
Well, you're going to lose out either way when Velas doesn't get 700 yards.
Now, I like that they didn't overthink their top 10 picks. They took Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, who I would have obviously have taken if both of those players were available to me at those spots.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. Neal graded out as a blue chip prospect for me, and I think Thibodeau, when all is said and done, could actually be seen as the best player from this class. However, some of their mid-round picks felt like reaches to me. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of Ezeudu, and I definitely didn't think he was a third rounder. And Wan'Dale Robinson, he's a fun player to watch, but I sure didn't think he was worth the 43rd pick. But with 11 picks at their disposal, I can't be mad at reaches when you're drafting for volume. Now, to me, this ultimately depends on how Thibodeau and Neal perform. Also, shout out to Micah McFadden. Go Hoosiers. Next, we got the Washington Commanders.
Ha! Gay!
Now, I think it's fair to debate if moving down 5 spots just to receive a third and a fourth was worth it, considering that they could have taken Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, or Kyle Hamilton, because they also did need a safety. But Washington did go into this draft with just 6 picks, and they left with 8 players. Now, Dotson may feel like a bit of a reach, but wide receivers were going like hotcakes, and I like him as a prospect. It's fine. I do think that taking a chance on Howell in the 5th...
The cum handlers.
What?
He said the cum handlers.
Taking a chance on Howell in the 5th was also reasonable to me. And if he's even able to develop into an average backup, that's a win in my book. Now, considering
for the 5th round, fuck yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, they didn't do anything too exciting, but I was mostly fine with their decisions. So I gave it a C+. I just think that they could have gotten someone. I think
it's a little low. I think it's a little low for them, honestly.
I just feel like it would have been better if they had just stayed where they were.
I would have said like in the B range, but I mean, I guess that's about right.
Well, I would have. My thing that knocked them down for me was I would have taken Jamison Williams or Chris Olave over over trading down for Jahan Dotson. It's not like they really got a lot.
Yeah, fair enough.
For that trade down either. Next, we go to the AFC East.
Dun, dun, dun.
We got the Buffalo fucking Bills here. Kyer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Shit. That's sad considering. Oh fuck. Anyway.
Now, I don't have an issue with them giving up a 4th-round pick to move up 2 spots in the 1st round for Elam. He plays a premium position at corner, and he ran a 4.39, and he's only going to be 21 when the season starts. And corner was a need for Buffalo as well. And James Cook, or as we called him on draft day, Dalvin Cook's brother, because he is Dalvin Cook's brother. He gives the Bills a playmaking, pass-catching running back. And Khalil Shakir, someone who I thought was underrated here, and this is actually good value for me. I think he has the ability to immediately contribute. And they also drafted the punt god, Matt Ariza, in the 6th round. Look up this guy, Matt Ariza. This guy punted a ball 80 yards twice last year in a game.
Good lord.
Yeah, this guy's got a leg from Jesus. Like,
just imagine what kind of penis he has.
Like this, like 2 separate games, he punted the ball 80 yards.
Yeah, throwing Nick straight up.
Like, seriously, can you imagine that? A guy just casually doing that. Like, I don't get excited about punters because, you know, at the end of the day, it's a punter, but, like, God, this is so valuable when it comes to flipping the field, you know? And you could argue that they shouldn't have used a 2nd rounder on a running back, but, like, I don't think that anything that they did was outrageously bad. You could
I'm gonna say, I mean, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss are kind of meh, so, like, I mean, they gotta get it right with somebody.
I guess. I'm just like, you can find, like, we found Aaron Jones in, like, the 6th or 7th round.
I thought he was undrafted.
No.
Oh, okay.
But, like, you can find good running backs later. But I also could argue that they could have stayed put at 25 and just held on to their 4th round pick. But, you know, it's fine. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I give it a B.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Next, we got the New England Patriots.
Yeah. How did Leatherface do?
We got Cole Strange, Tyquan Thornton, Marcus Jones, Jack Jones, Pierre Strong, Bailey Zappi, Kevin Harris, Sam Roberts, Jason Hines, and Andrew Stuber. Now, I get it. Bill Belichick obviously knows more about football than I do. But let's be real. If any other team had this draft, would they be so lenient? Would they get any sort of lenient treatment? No, they'd be getting.
They're shitting on him for it. So I could imagine, you know.
No, I'm talking about like analysts as well. Like analysts are like, well, we couldn't question Bill Belichick. He obviously knows what he's doing.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing they're saying. It's like, well, we can't question Bill Belichick, but this is kind of bad. But yeah, any other GM makes this draft, they're shitting all over it until the season starts.
Exactly. Now, drafting a guard that had a 3rd round grade from me and will be 24 as a rookie is questionable. And with the 50th pick, they took Thornton, who I gave a 4th round grade to. And overall, the Patriots just took a lot of older prospects. This was just a weird draft to me, and I guess it's okay to think differently from everyone else. But, like, usually when people are in agreement with something, because they're right. And, you know, maybe Belichick will look like a genius again, but based on the information that I have on these guys, I'm just underwhelmed. So,
I'm surprised you graded it as high as you did.
Well, again, Bill Belichick might look like a genius here, so we'll see. If it was anybody else, it would be a lower grade.
See, you're falling in with the rest of them.
So now we got the Miami Dolphins here. They only had 4 picks in this draft. Now this was a league low for this year because they traded for Tyreek Hill. Now, I have no issues at all with the Tyndall pick, even though he never started a game at Georgia. He did produce plenty, though, and he did play a lot of snaps.
Yeah,
Also,
let's be honest here. This is kind of a fucking just throwaway draft for the Dolphins. They're taking flyers on guys.
yeah, and he also tested athletically as one of the top 5 linebackers. And honestly, there's not much else to analyze here. Obviously, only 4 picks. What are we gonna do? So I really only paid attention to the Tyndall pick.
I just thought of something. Remember when Brian Flores netted them all these fucking draft picks? What the hell happened to that?
What?
Remember how Brian Flores netted them all these draft picks in recent years? Like, what the
fuck? Right.
God damn, maybe he was right. But anyway, next.
Next, we got the New York Jets.
Good draft from them, I think.
Yeah, it was a good draft. Now, they should be excited about this haul. Gardner's stats at Cincinnati were absolutely ridiculous when I looked at them. 9 interceptions throughout his whole college career, 27 passes defended, and he never allowed a single touchdown at Cincinnati. Ever. Now, Garrett Wilson has some comparisons to Stephon Diggs, which is mighty high praise if you ask me. And he could end up being the best receiver from this class. And Johnson was incredibly disruptive rushing the passer last season. You can argue whether the Jets should have traded up for a running back in the second round, but they only gave up a 5th rounder, and Breece Hall was my favorite running back this year. He's the only running back that I can see actually being a blue chip talent. So I think it's fine. I gave it a B+.
Yeah, and let's just say the rest of the AFC East is going to have a tough time handling the Big Johnson. Had to get it in one last time. But anyway, next.
Got the NFC South here. This is CPG's territory here. We're saving yours for last.
I figured.
Got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Logan goddamn Hall.
Logan goddamn Hall.
The defensive lineman out of Houston. They drafted Luke Godecki, the offensive lineman out of Central Michigan. Rashad White, the running back out of Arizona State. Cade Otton, tight end out of Washington. Jake Camarda, the punter out of Georgia. Zion McCollum, who I think is going to be surprising a lot of people. I really liked his tape, despite him coming from Sam Houston State. I really liked what I saw. He's an athletic freak. O'Keefe, tight end out of Minnesota, and Andre Anthony, the edge out of LSU. They went into this draft with only 6 picks, and they came out with 8 players, so credit to them for trading out of the first round to get more picks. Hall is a fun player for sure, and teams are always looking for defensive linemen like him who can provide an interior pass rush.
Well, let's be honest with the Bucs too. Most of their starting lineup is pretty set. Like, they're looking for fucking developmental guys.
Right. I think that Hall could prove to be like the long-term replacement for Ndamukong Suh. Yeah.
Step over the face.
White, Otton, and Camarda all have the potential to contribute in 2022, and again, I think.
Well, I hope so. The one guy's a fucking punter.
Again, field position's important.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I hope he can contribute. He's a punter in the fucking 4th round.
Fair. I think McCollum will surprise people sooner than later, like I said, though. I really liked his tape, and he graded out as the 2nd best athlete among corners in this draft. They didn't have a whole lot to work with, but I thought that the Bucs did a really good job of balancing short-term and long-term needs with this class. So, B+.
Sounds good enough for me.
Next, we
My
got
phone is about to die. I'm switching devices. Just heads up.
Okay. I'll let you back in.
Next, we got the New Orleans Saints, who I gave a D.
Why?
Okay, hear me out here. Before the draft even started, the Saints traded next year's first and a 2024 second to get another first-round pick this year. That left them with
that pointless trade with the Eagles.
Then the Saints moved from 16 to 11, giving up a 3rd and a 4th to get Olave. It was fine to make all-in moves like this when Drew Brees and Sean Payton were in New Orleans because they were legitimate Super Bowl favorites year in and year out. But with how much this team lost this year, Armstead, Marcus Williams, Malcolm Jenkins, they needed all the picks that they could get to raise the ceiling for this team. Instead, they end up with only 5 players, the second least picks in this draft. Olave and Penning may turn out to be great players, but I just don't like how the Saints went about this draft.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the first round I think for them was very good, but I mean that Alontae Taylor, I'm not high on him at all, and like I don't know too much about the other guys, so I don't know. Everything after the first round was kind of dog shit for me. So I get where you're coming from, but like just based on the players, I'd have gave it a little bit higher. You definitely pissed Vincino off.
And I'm sorry for that, but my thing is, you don't have Drew Brees or Sean Payton anymore. You've got Jameis Winston and who's their coach right now? Dennis Allen. Like,
I mean, I will say,
you really think that this is the year to go all in? No, you need to get players that you can develop for the future.
I will say,
that's what the draft is all about.
The future.
I will say in defense, though, they were like 4 or 5-2 before Jameis Winston got hurt.
I mean, we'll see, but I mean.
But Jameis' track record, forgive me for not trusting him, given his track record.
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. Like, I could look stupid later on when we revisit this in 2 years, but to me, it just didn't seem like the right move when you're a team that I think is rebuilding. Now, they did get Jarvis Landry, and that's fine. But this draft was done before they had gotten Jarvis. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not about people you're signing. It's about fucking draft.
It's about penis.
So I know that some people love getting Olave and Penning, and I really like those players too. But my thing is the way you went about getting them was why this grade is so low.
Yeah, makes sense. Next.
The Atlanta Falcons, and I gave them a C+. Drake London was definitely not my favorite receiver in this draft. I definitely wouldn't have taken him top 10 because I just don't trust him to get separation against NFL defensive backs, and I'm not sold on his speed. Sure-handed for sure, but he's a possession receiver. He's the guy that gets the 50-50 balls.
I don't know if he was the best one for me.
Yeah. Now
I'd have said Burke or Chris Olave.
Yeah, or Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, you could even argue Garrett Wilson.
Now Ebiketie was a great pick in my opinion, though. The Falcons needed pass rush in the worst of ways, and I think that he's a dream scheme fit. Now let's get to Desmond Ridder. There are tons of ways that the Ridder pick could pan out. There's value where he was taken for sure. Like, a lot of people had him in the first round.
Yeah.
A world exists where Ridder could be like a franchise quarterback, like Dak Prescott, who was drafted like in the middle rounds.
Yeah.
And value is had for him. However, I just don't think that the Falcons should have taken a quarterback in the draft this year. This roster just isn't good at all, and they could have been in the running for a better quarterback prospect like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud next year.
Well, I'll say in defense of that, it's a third-round pick, and you're getting a guy who arguably was a first-round pick on people's mock drafts.
So I said so much.
So if it doesn't work out, and say Desmond Ridder ends up being a backup, then it's still not a bad pick.
Right. That's why I'm not harping on it too much. Like, again, I understand that the value was too great to pass on Ridder in the third round, but again, I just didn't think that this was the year for Atlanta to take a quarterback. Now, if they did take a quarterback in the first round, I'd be shredding them.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Yeah. But I also really like Troy Anderson. I thought he was very underrated throughout the draft process. We'll see about D'Angelo Malone. I wasn't a huge fan of his tape. And John Fitzpatrick is like a blocking tight end for Georgia. So again, we'll see. But I really like the Ebiketie pick, which is why this isn't just a flat out C. I gave it a C plus.
Okay.
Next, we got the Carolina Panthers with sharp teeth.
With sharp teeth and claws.
Is CPG back in? CBG, are you back
in? You guys
in?
really want to hear him?
Yeah, he's here.
All right, cool.
He's here. He's probably just masturbating.
No, he's eating.
Nom, nom, nom.
All right. Now, I gave this an A. Ike Mekwonu, Matt Corral, Brandon Smith, Amari Barno, Cade Mays.
I'm hard as a rock.
I got to give credit where credit is due to the Panthers front office. They didn't take a first-round quarterback out of desperation, considering that Matt Rule is on the hot seat and all that. Instead, they took a left tackle that could be their long-term answer at the position. Finally.
Finally!
How long has it been since they've had any sort of stability at left tackle? A long time.
Jordan Gross, I think.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, to me, the difference in talent between the quarterback that they did choose in the third round, Matt Corral, and whoever they could have gotten at 6 was marginal at best. Is he better than Sam Darnold come September? I doubt it. But the value, I doubt it. He's still pretty raw. He's got more.
I mean, Sam Darnold's pretty fucking terrible. Not saying this guy has to be a superstar, but I mean,
he's pretty terrible. But
wasn't for Daniel Jones,
I do think Corral needs to develop.
Will be the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
what?
They're shit A and shit B. So yeah.
I just think that Corral needs to develop a bit. But given
a lot of grooming needed in this draft,
this wasn't a great quarterback draft at all. But the value here, given all of Corral's athletic traits, a strong arm and a great release, is great. The strategy to go with athletic upside on day 3 was also smart, and I do think that this was a step in the right direction for this organization. So I gave it an A.
Very fair.
CPG, what do you think?
Move on. He being stupid.
Next, we got the AFC South.
Oh shit! Here we go.
Tennessee Titans, who I gave a C.
Ah, bitches.
Traylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas. Roger McCreary, corner out of Auburn. Nicholas Petit-Frere, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. Hassan Haskins, running back out of Michigan. Chiga Okonkwo, tight end out of Maryland. Kyle Phillips, wide receiver out of UCLA. Theo Jackson, corner out of Tennessee. And Chance Campbell, the linebacker out of Ole Miss. My main gripe.
I love how the first line in your assessment here is, I just will never understand why the Titans traded A.J. Brown.
Exactly. When you draft a player at a premium position and he produces.
Oh yeah, speaking of that wide receiver they got, did you see his he quit
I saw
early?
that.
Yeah, he quit early.
Yeah, he getting winded and shit already. Well, damn. And I actually like Traylon Burks.
But my thing with the trading of A.J. Brown, he produced for you, and he's a premium, and wide receiver is a premium position. You reward him when his rookie contract is up. Now, right now, it just feels like a bad decision to me. And Brown reportedly said he wanted to stay in Tennessee. So it feels like the Titans are going to take a step back this year. I'm sorry, Titans fans out there.
What? No, don't apologize to fucking Trashville fans on my channel. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Okay, fine.
They deserve to be shit. Fuck them.
However, I will say, in terms of the actual draft, the Titans did a fine job. Now, don't expect Burks to automatically replicate what Brown did, but he is a fine prospect with upside. And I do like that they took a swing on Malik Willis in the third. He has the most upside of any quarterback in this year's class. It was a good haul, but the Brown trade was just foolish to me. So, a C.
Dummies.
Next, we got the
Yeah.
Jacksonville Jaguars, who I gave a C-.
That's acceptable. I'd have said B, or C+, but go ahead.
Now, if the Jaguars thought edge was the best position for them, I'm just going to say, I think they should have gone with Hutchinson or Thibodeau over a clear project in Walker, no matter how much athletic upside he has. Now, and I love Chad Muma as a player, but the pick didn't make sense to me, given that they spent money on Foye Oluokun in free agency. Now, Fortner is decent, but I liked Dylan Parham, the offensive lineman that went to the Raiders out of Memphis. I liked him more than Fortner. Again, I don't necessarily hate the players that Jacksonville took, but it's weird to me how they acquired them when they did and what the process was.
They did.
I guess. Well, I agree. I'll say this. I agree with you 100%. I preferred Hutchinson to Walker, but I do like Trayvon Walker. I think he's between him, Thibodeau, and Hutchinson. They're all three going to be monsters. I think. Devin Lloyd was a phenomenal pick. Luke Fortner, we needed a center, and he played in the SEC, so I'm good with it. Everything after that just kind of didn't make sense. But in all honesty, you're taking flyers on these guys, and somehow we ended up with the Bucs' 4th-round pick next year. So I mean, is what it is. And then of course Kevin Austin in the undrafted free agent who was supposed to be a 3rd to 5th round pick, getting him undrafted was tremendous value. So
why was he undrafted?
I don't know.
That's interesting.
I think it's because there's not a lot of tape on, because he missed 2 years, 1 because of injury and 2 because of an off the field issue. But his senior year and his combine, he was great. So
yeah,
I mean, he's a project play. He's a project player for sure, but I think he can really turn into something, and it'll make not taking a receiver in this draft not look so bad.
You gotta I think with because putting all your eggs in that basket is a risk.
Well, also it's not like they have pure and utter dog shit at wide receiver like they did last year. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess I said it to you before. Like, I just feel like the wide receiver core, as it looks to me, it's just a whole lot of Robins with no Batman.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like I have a theory next year with Lloyd and Evan, or not Lloyd, Mike or Dan Arnold and Evan Ingram having rookie contracts expired. I think we're going for the tight end from Georgia.
Yeah. Oh
wow! But all in all, I thought it was solid.
Going away from here, they really having a debate about whether Jameis stole crab legs or not here.
Yeah, I saw. But anyway, go ahead.
All right.
So, all right, you gave him a C-. It's fine.
Wait.
I get it. It's acceptable.
The main pick I don't understand is Snoop Connor. If you didn't know what to do with that pick, trade it.
But I will say, in defense of that pick, he's different than Etienne and Robinson. And
how?
They're both coming off injuries. I'm getting to it. Relax. James Robinson's a do-it-all, workhorse, balanced running back. Etienne's a speed guy. Snoop's a power guy. So
Snoop's a Connor guy?
Snoop's a Connor guy.
Shut up. You know what I meant. He's a power guy. So, especially since running around the red zone for the Jaguars was horrendous, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. But now, I'm still not a huge fan of it.
Now, I will say, I did like Monteric Brown as, like, someone to take a flyer on because he's athletic as hell.
If he gets rid of fucking Chris Claybrooks, I'm all for it.
All right. But I wasn't so sure about Gregory Jr. here. Out of Wachita Baptist.
He's from some Bible thumper school.
All right.
Exactly. Just like my man Justin here says, like that he's basically for goal line situations. So it makes sense. Still don't like the pick though. But anyway, go ahead. Let's get to the in the ass bliss cunts.
I like this draft. I love the focus on athleticism in this draft because, especially on offense, they've lacked what I call juice. Pierce ran a 4.41 and averaged 17.5 yards per catch in college. So I really liked that pick a lot for them. They really needed some help at wide receiver. And Jelani Woods was a tight end that I wouldn't have minded Green Bay taking. He tested out as the most athletic tight end in this year's class. Bernard Ryman is also a plus athlete, and I think he can become a really good left tackle for them for the future. He's only been playing the tackle position for a couple of years, but he's learned very well along the way so far. Cross also tested as the best athlete among safeties in this class. And while there are never guarantees in this class, in this draft ever, I thought that the Colts process this year was sound. I liked a lot of what they did, so I gave them a B.
But yet again, no project quarterback.
Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I think they're gonna wait on that.
Shit, they've been waiting since
I
Andrew
know.
Luck's pussy ass quit.
Matt Ryan.
I didn't say I agreed with it.
I mean, how much fucking longer do you need to wait here? But anyway, go ahead.
Next, we got the Houston Texans, who I thought had a pretty good draft.
They did, unfortunately.
There's a lot to like about this draft, and I completely understand why they took a swing on Derek Stingley Jr., because if you watched his 2019 tape, he completely dominated as a true freshman. I think a lot of why his play kind of stumbled off in 2020 and 2021 was just the fall off of talent that LSU had. Burrow was gone, Chase was gone, and then he realized his coach was also getting fired.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, and the thing is, you don't just forget how to play corner at that level, and I think that he also injury was the reason why he didn't play nearly as well. So I think that it's worth taking a gamble on him here. The upside is real.
My thing is, I would have liked him going somewhere with a more sound coaching staff, but Houston, nothing against Lovie Smith. I just don't know if he's there yet.
Fair.
Especially with the dysfunction in that
also,
place.
I feel like people forget that he coached a defense that took the Bears all the way to the Super Bowl against Indianapolis.
That makes sense.
Hold
on a second, guys. I'll be right back. Go ahead, continue. Just finish up.
All right. Now, Kenyon Green felt like a bit of a reach even after a trade down, but he is young and versatile. He can play tackle or guard. Mechie seemed like a reach too. He's a fine prospect, but the Texans have needs all over the roster, and they didn't need to give up 2 additional 4th-round picks to land him. I really do like Jalen Petrie. He's fun to watch. And Harris has the potential to become a really good starter as well. I also like Dameon Pierce. He just runs with violence. And I like what the Texans were able to do here, so I gave it a B+. Any thoughts on that? No? Awkward silence?
You summed it up pretty well. I mean, I thought I was unmuted, my bad.
Next, we go to the NFC West. We're finally at the end of this. We're going to start off with the Super Bowl champ, Los Angeles Rams. The Rams did not have any picks in the top 100, but that does not mean that their mantra should be fuck them picks. It should be fuck them first-round picks. I know it doesn't have the same ring to it, but you get the point. They were still able to get about the league average of 8 picks here. And I think that they at least have one player that they hope can make an impact immediately in Logan Bruss. They also got Troy Hill back for a 5th-round pick, and he played well for them before signing with the Browns in 2021. I think that considering what they had, the Rams made reasonable decisions. Next, we got the San Francisco 49ers, and they went into this draft with 9 total picks and made all of them with no trade-ups or trade-downs. They just stayed put where they were. I really like the Drake Jackson pick. It was one of my favorite day 2 picks, and he's only going to be 21 when the season starts. And he gets a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks if you look at his tape. I think he and Bosa are going to make a good team on the edge. I will say I did not like the Tyrion Davis-Price pick one bit. In fact, I think it is my least favorite pick in this whole draft. I thought that the allure of the Shanahan scheme was not having to invest so much in the running back position. So to spend a third-round pick on a running back was a little confusing for me, you know? I just didn't really like that pick at all from San Francisco. I do think that Gray has the potential to give the 49ers a good vertical threat, though. And I also like taking a flyer on Tariq Castro Fields in the 6th round. Overall, this was a pretty nice haul when you consider what they had to work with. I just really don't like that Davis Price pick at all, so I gave them a B. Next, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Now,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I haven't done it for a fucking bird team yet, so.
Credit to them for not panicking and taking a quarterback in the 1st round. They took 2 offensive tackles and an edge rusher in the first 3 rounds. Now, will they all hit? I don't think so, but those are worthy swings to take. Seattle's picks all align pretty well with how I had these prospects ranked. I know personally I wouldn't have spent the 41st overall pick on a running back, but hey, Walker's a fun prospect, and it was 1 pick. But let's be honest, overall, this team's roster is
with their running back stable now, what do they got to lose?
Chris Carson ain't bad.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, but it's just you look at it, it's just how many more running backs does Pete Carroll need?
Who knows? He's old.
Now, overall, this team's roster is a bit of a clusterfuck dumpster fire. And they went into this draft needing help at nearly every position.
Russell Wilson will do that to you.
What? Oh, yeah,
trading Russell Wilson will do that to you.
And they went into this draft needing help at nearly every position except wide receiver. And the way that they spent their picks reflected that. They still have one of the worst quarterback situations in the NFL, and I can't see them winning more than 6 games at this moment. But from a
they probably don't want to.
Right, exactly. But from a process standpoint, this was a good step in the right direction for Seattle, so a B+ for them. Next, we got the Arizona Cardinals. They drafted Trey McBride.
With gold talons.
The sharp beaks and talons.
No, they're dull. You want to know why?
Why?
I'll tell you why. Because we own the goddamn Cardinals. As you can see.
Now, I do like that the Cardinals added to their pass rush room. Whether I like the players that they chose is up for debate. I wasn't the biggest fan of Cameron Thomas's tape.
I love you.
Trey McBride, definitely my favorite tight end in this class, but in this air raid scheme, I don't see the place for spending so much value like a 2nd-round pick on a tight end. It just doesn't make sense to me. You want your speed guys in an air raid system, and I just don't think Trey McBride is. I just wonder what his place is going to be in this offense. Now, the Cardinals traded the 23rd overall pick for Hollywood Brown and the 100th pick. Now, that's
stupid.
It was a steep price to pay for my liking, but I
no, it wasn't steep. It was stupid.
I kind of get it from their perspective, though. In
what world is Hollywood Brown worth a 1st-round pick?
I agree that it was a steep
price.
Just
you might as well have fucking kept Christian Kirk.
My thing is, he obviously had chemistry with Kyler Murray during their time at Oklahoma.
I guess, but okay.
And with
it's your grades.
And with Brown being signed for 2 more years on his rookie contract, that's a bargain compared to what they were going to have to give Christian Kirk, apparently.
Anakin, get naked, girl.
Again, I just thought it was the cheaper move money-wise, and you're getting Kyler, his favorite target, from college back. So I kind of understand, even though it caused me to dock their grade down a bit. Again, McBride was my favorite tight end in this class, but I question his place in this system. The Cardinals have to figure out what they're going to do about Kyler's contract that he wants, and I don't know if they're going to be able to give him an extension before the season starts.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this him wanting $70 million is true, but if I were that, I'd say fuck you and trade for Baker Mayfield.
Now, if the Cardinals,
I'm not even kidding. That's ridiculous.
Now, if the Cardinals figure things out offensively, like, things will work themselves out. But if not, this situation could blow up, and there's no doubt in my mind that QB needy teams will be keeping an eye on Arizona, especially considering Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim both, for some reason, got contract extensions this year.
All eyes are going to be on the midget.
Again, I don't understand how Cliff Kingsbury still has a job. I didn't like that hire from the get-go. He had a losing record as a college coach.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but hey, what are you going to do? Not my problem.
Next, we go to the AFC West.
This is the last one, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Got the Kansas City Chiefs, a.k.a. the Red Ranger.
Red Ranger?
Oh.
Mystic Force.
All right.
No,
now, the
that
Chiefs
was a shitty version of Power Rangers.
Now, the Chiefs had 10 overall picks, tied for the 5th most. However, there were some parts about this draft I wasn't a huge fan of. One, they traded up for McDuffie. His film is great, but he has average to below average size and length for a corner. He played just 60 snaps of man coverage last season, and
he's covering men.
He finished his college career with only 2 total interceptions. He could be great, but I do think that it's fair to question this pick, especially trading up for him.
I didn't know it was like that with him.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyson Campbell did that. Even Dwayne Grotz did that in one season in the NFL.
Yeah. Now the Chiefs.
I'm not gonna even say Tyson Campbell. Tyson Campbell's good.
Now the Chiefs used only 1 pick in the first 4 rounds to help Patrick Mahomes, which was Sky Moore. He was a good player for sure, but I would have liked to see them invest more in this offense, especially after trading Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. The Chiefs drafted for volume and got some fine players, for sure. But I'm not sure I'm as high on this class as a lot of people are.
Using crack and cocaine to get high. That's what
I will say, though, I do like the Karlaftis and the Leo Chanel pick.
Yeah, the Greek Freak's that dude.
And I do like Leo Chanel as well. I kind of considered him I considered him a second-round prospect, and to get him in the 3rd was definitely good value.
It seems like there's a lot of linebackers that were 1st or 2nd-round picks that ended up going in the 3rd round.
Well, linebacker's just not that valuable of a position in today's NFL.
Damn, I meant to say this when you were talking about the Jaguars. It's more valuable to us, like with the Devin Lloyd and then I guess the Mama pick. Like my theory on is like when you gotta play Baby Huey and Jonathan Taylor twice each a year, you kind of need people that can tackle. So that was kind of my theory of why they were loading up on linebackers. But anyway, I'm digressing. Go ahead.
All right. Next, we go to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos traded back twice.
The Legion of Broncos.
They traded back twice and up once. Even after the Russell Wilson trade, the Broncos ended up with 9 picks in this draft and ended up with an extra 3rd-round pick for next year. I really like Nick Bonito. I compared him to a literal ball of lightning. Like, I didn't compare him to, like, any player. I just said, like, a ball of lightning.
Yeah. And let's remind people, they traded for Russell Wilson, not that guy in Cleveland, you know.
Come on out, you rapist!
God damn, you're gonna bring that up every time.
Oh, I'm gonna beat that shit to death. But anyway, go ahead.
Benito was one of my favorite day 2 picks, and his ability to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks was evident on film. I really like Greg Dulcich. I would have liked him for the Packers. He gives Denver a field-stretching tight end, and Mathis is a physical and feisty corner who can run. And some may say that the Broncos reached a ton in this draft, and I'd be what?
He's feisty.
Yeah, some may say that the Broncos reached a ton in this draft, and I would agree with that with the Turner Yell pick, the Montrell Washington pick, and the Wattenberg pick. But I really like this class, so
hey, his name is Yell. You'll definitely hear him coming.
Next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders. They didn't have a first or second round pick after the Devontae Adams trade. The Raiders did trade up twice and back twice in this draft. They went into this weekend with 5 picks and left with 6, so net gain right
I thought the Vikings GM had ADD.
Now, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot to analyze here, though. I mean, they took 2 running backs, but those were late-round picks, so it's not like they invested, significant value into the position. I do think
not that they really need to, either.
Right. I do think that Dylan Parham seems like good value. He played, 3 different positions on the offensive line in college and didn't allow a single sack at all last season. Given the limited resources at their disposal, I thought that this was a fine draft for the Raiders. I gave it a B.
Yeah, works.
And next, we have
now
the
go
Chargers.
Chargers, go.
Now, I gotta say, this was a boring draft. And, that's perfectly fine. They went into this draft with 10 picks and ended up selecting 8 players. But they picked up a 2023 sixth via a day 3 trade. Now, the Chargers should just have one thing on their mind: protect Justin Herbert at all costs. And they did just that by selecting Zion Johnson in the first round. Johnson was one of my favorite prospects who tested well athletically and got called for just 1 penalty in 2021. He's a clean prospect and he's safe. I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I will say with this being a boring draft for them, I hope this GM's fucking's not like his drafts, because his old lady definitely ain't happy.
The Chargers, I mean, I do like JT Woods. He has size, speed, and range. And the Chargers also took another offensive lineman on day 3, on Jamari Salyer.
Hey, this Spiller guy, do you know if he has any relation to CJ Spiller?
I've looked it up and I wasn't able to find anything.
Yeah, I remember CJ Spiller back in the day. I mean, that guy was slicker than cum on a gold tooth. He was fucking nuts.
I think this guy's more of a power back.
Okay, yeah, I haven't looked up film on him, but go ahead.
They also took flyers on a couple of corners late, and they also took a fullback from Purdue, but it's a 7th round pick, so who gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck? Exactly.
So now my only advice to the Chargers is go sign a right tackle and contend for a playoff push. Do not waste Justin Herbert's career.
Fucking assholes.
And that's it.
Excellent job, man. Shout out to Master Nicky, the draft sensei here for that fine piece of mock draft grading. But yeah, I think we're gonna. I think with that we've gone about an hour and 20 minutes. I think we're gonna close the show out here. Anything you guys need to add?
Not that I know of.
The Saints still suck.
And fuck Trashville. But
my tribal team.
But anyway, this was a very lively chat. I appreciate you guys, even though you didn't fucking donate. But this was a very lively chat. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to everybody for watching. We will see you back here next week for episode 11 of Awkward Silence. And as always, thank you, fuck you,